I did not expect that to turn out well. Almost tastes kind of like coffee, which is really bizarre because there's no coffee in this. Anyway, Thor here, and today I wanted to talk about my back wooden railings on my deck. I wanted to go kind of into why you don't see a lot of wooden boats or a lot of woodwork on boats in Lake Powell. So as you can see, this is my back deck, and these are my rails, and they are not in the best of shape. Look at this. If I push down on this rail, comes up. A lot of the screws are falling out, and I've learned over time you can't use screws to hold these rails, and you got to use bolts and bolt all the way through. There's not a lot of good options, unfortunately, but that's what I got to work with. It's really hard to see. You'll notice that the grain on this wood is like showing. It's chipping off. The finish is toast. And that has a lot to do with the fact that this wood is not marine grade plywood. However, I have noticed that if you put rhino liner on it, it makes it marine grade plywood. We're gonna disassemble all of these rails. We're gonna put screws through them, and then I'm gonna give them a good old coating of rhino liner. If it all strong, sounds really redneck and hillbilly. That's okay. It's gonna work and it's gonna look good, and that's all that matters. I remember right before I moved to the Lake Powell area, I was having a conversation with my friend, Sid Young. For reference, Sid Young is a second generation boat builder, and he built his fortune off of building high-end boats, most of which were wood. His company was called Stancraft, and after he retired I helped him build boats and restore several others. I told Sid he should build boats and sell them at Lake Powell. He shook his head and said something along the lines of, "That place is just too dry for wooden boats." To that point, like most things boat related, he was correct. The humidity even on the water here at Lake Powell is so dry that wooden boats dry up and have issues. There are very few wooden boats here on Lake Powell. I only know of one, to be honest, and after talking to owners, they did admit that they have issues with the wood drying out, but they love their boats, so it's worth it. My railings have dried out, so much so that the wood is delaminating, a common problem for wood here. This is in part because they get wet so often from use and then dry out, and since they are not marine grade plywood, the glue that holds them together dissolves when it gets wet. I chose rhino liner, or to be exact, a product called Herc liner, because it is water inert. It is the same product I use on the keel of my boat to protect it from chafing when I land the boat in sand. I've used it on my steps and gunnel guards to great effect. The coating appears durable, grippy, and it is the correct color. My boat is only black, white, and gray. Not long after I moved here, the tips of my rails started to delaminate, and I used Herc liner to glue them back together. Considering the price of wood, I haven't really been able to afford to replace them, so I had to get creative. The Herc liner will basically seal the tops of the wood and stop the delamination. I applied it extra thick, which is why the end result will look a bit bumpy. This was done on purpose as the railings have really taken a beating over time. There were numerous small chips, several large chunks gone, and tons of scratches. The Herc liner should last for a long time, but what is really nice about it is it shines up wonderfully with furniture wax, and it's easy and cheap to repair. Cleaning is a breeze as well, might I add. The finish itself is extremely durable, and I'm sure it will handle anything I throw at it. Well, hopefully anyway. Overall, I've been very impressed with the finish. Some might think it's not too classy to use rhino liner on a boat, and that is okay. To that point, the finish is just a more durable version of Kiwi grip, which is often used on boats with no rejection. So, as the saying goes, to each their own. Now, back to that repair. So as you can see, I'm pretty much done here. This has just got to dry a little bit, but you can see that the screws are very difficult to see now. That was kind of part of the plan. You can see that I really put it on thick. Has a lot to do with the fact that these rails get, chipped and beat up so hard. People sit on them, people mess with them, so this should be a good solution. Alrighty, well, that about does it for the day. I hope you enjoyed the video. So, until next time, this is Thor, signing out.